Family, on tonight, I ask your attention to the gospel as penned by John, John chapter 18, and we will look at verses 33 through 37. There are certainly some relevant thoughts and principles that we can extract in studying John chapter 18, verses 33 through 37. While you're turning there, I want to inform you of something that I don't need to inform you of. You already know this. But we are in the political debate season. It has begun. Soon the attack ads will follow, and we'll be inundated with political ads for the next year or so. God help us all. All of this stuff just comes down to power. It is the desire for power. And power is a tremendous motivator. The desire for power is an underlying problem in our governments. It's the underlying problem in why countries cannot get along with one another. The desire for power is an underlying problem in our families. It would solve a lot of church problems if we could remove the argument about power and who's in charge. You see, people want access, they want control, and they want compliance, though they'll call compliance loyalty. And power gives people access to things, to places, to people, to opportunities that they wouldn't otherwise have. Once they gain control, they can manipulate activities and manipulate people, manipulate systems to get the outcomes they want. And power can cause compliance. Again, they'll say it's loyalty, because with it they can reward or punish those who align or don't align with their wishes. There's something about power that strokes the ego. It satisfies the emotions, and it energizes people just to think they have it. When we look at the arrest of Jesus, so much of this was about power and the idea that he was trying to upset the Roman government and things that may cause us to say it was nothing more than a kangaroo court. In John chapter 18, starting at verse 33, the Bible says, "Then Pilate entered into the judgment hall again, and called Jesus, and said unto him, Are you the King of the Jews? Jesus answered him, Say thou this thing of thyself, or did others tell it thee of me? Pilate answered, Am I a Jew? Thine own nation and the chief priests have delivered thee unto me. What hast thou done? Jesus answered, My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight, that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now is my kingdom not from hence. Pilate therefore said unto him, Art thou a king then? Jesus answered, Thou sayest that I am a king. To this end was I born, and for this cause came I into the world, that I should bear witness unto the truth. Everyone that is of the truth heareth my voice. Let me give you just the backdrop here and then make a practical analogy to our current events here in this country. Jesus was arrested. The Jews had charged him with blaspheming God and false testimony. because Jesus claimed to be the Messiah and the Son of God. Many Jews thought that was reprehensible, and so he needed to be arrested. The Romans charged him with treason because he had talked about the destruction of the temple. And even though the temple belonged to the Jews, it nonetheless stood as a national monument. And it was one of those things where if you dare speak against anything that we hold dear, how dare you? So Jesus is before Pilate. Pilate finds no fault in Jesus. Pilate should have listened to his wife, because his wife told him she had a dream. Said, don't have anything to do with this man. Nonetheless, he stands before Pilate, and Pilate says, well, who can I release, this man or another? And instead of the people wanting the release of Jesus, they wanted the release of Barabbas, who was a robber, according to verse number 40. Jesus gives this response that I'm sure was thought-provoking to Pilate. Jesus says that my kingdom is not of this world. What Jesus is doing in this statement is drawing the distinction between the secular and the spiritual, the temporary and the eternal. Jesus wanted it to be understood that those in the world, in their kingdoms, the political kingdoms in the world, people have to have allies and they have to have these alliances, because sometimes to get power or to maintain power, you've got to go to war. You've got to play politics. You've got to just about sell your soul to have some power in the political dynasties of the world. Jesus is saying, my kingdom is not of this world. In other words, it does not have an origin in mere earthly means or human means. And his kingdom is secure, unlike kings, emperors, presidents, whatever leadership roles a person has in any kingdom. He does not need an army to fight for his power, because it is maintained by the power of heaven. He does not have to go through ordinary means, because he serves an extraordinary Father. You see, in the secular kingdom, they were seeking to dominate. They were seeking to dominate politically. They wanted to dominate with their policies. They wanted to dominate with how money is taxed and how money is spent. They wanted to dominate their armies, to threaten other countries who dare unseat their power or go against their policies, and God forbid, mess with their money. When Jesus says, my kingdom is not of this world, Jesus is saying that my purpose as a king has nothing to do with your politics, your policies, your money, or your armies. He says, I want to dominate, but I want to dominate the hearts of men and women. I want to dominate their lives, their desires, and ultimately their eternal destiny. I want to give them something far more than what any kingdom of this world could ever offer. Jesus is saying, in a sense, to Pilate, neither you nor any Roman official or anybody else, for that matter, have anything to worry about in terms of your little political positions that you have. Because my kingdom is bigger, it's superior, and there's nothing to do with the superficial stuff you all are engaged in. So from this, I want you to have three takeaways from John 18, verses 33 through 37. Number one, be careful about putting all of your righteous eggs, so to speak, in a political basket. It is amazing how I hear quote unquote Christians in everyday conversation, or those who are asked even on television about the Christian position about a candidate or about a party. And people say you can only be a Christian if you're with this party or this person. Don't put all of your righteous eggs in one basket, because the political kingdoms of this world are completely different than Christ's kingdom. Second, be confident in God's kingdom and not in man's. A lot of people worried about what happens if this party or this candidate gets in, stays in, doesn't stay in, doesn't get in. Beloved, as Christians, our trust, our hope is anchored in God and His kingdom, and not the kingdoms of this world. Number 3, be a citizen in God's kingdom with all of the privileges and all the responsibilities of citizenship in the heavenly kingdom. We enjoy privileges, but we have responsibilities. And the chief responsibility we have is to be an ambassador for Christ. An ambassador is someone who is sent into another political kingdom to represent a foreign king. We live in a world that does not have the right to say it's our home. Our citizenship is not in the Democratic or Republican Party or any other party. Our citizenship is in heaven, which means we're just here representing God. As such, represent Him in your thoughts, represent Him in your speech, represent Him in your actions, and represent Him wherever you go. And the next time you have an opportunity to be on the call, represent Him by inviting somebody else to be there with you, because you represent not the king of this country, but the king of the universe. This has been another installment of A Few Minutes with the Minister.